Ever spent hours on an estimate just to have clients ghost you or pick a cheaper bid? I'm about to show you a system to get you faster, more accurate numbers without the stress. In this video, you'll discover whether AI is actually good enough to help you estimate or whether it's just hype, which tech and how much tech will you actually need to learn, and which parts of estimating become drastically easier with AI. You'll see how you can build a scope of work, do takeoffs, and get more accurate bids in a fraction of the time. So I can remember years ago going to a client's house, either pulling out a set of plans or if it was a remodel, we'd go through which part of their house they want to remodel. I would, take a bunch of notes, try not to forget anything, get measurements, and then I'd go home and laboriously try to organize all the notes and measurements and everything, and you read the plans and formulate some sort of scope of work to put into my estimate. Well, that process right there could take hours, and ChatGPT, whichever AI of choice, can do this in a matter of minutes now. So how you want to be thinking about this is if you are meeting with a client, you can record the conversation. If you're not ready to record conversations with clients for whatever reason, you can just, keep track of it in your notes how you normally would, or do just voice memos to yourself. But essentially, you will put in a prompt and you'll say that I've got a raw transcript or I've got notes. Please go through this, create a scope of work by trades. The more organized you can ask for the information, the better job ChatGPT is going to do of giving you that information. Quick pro tip here, if you want power prompts for the estimating that I'm going to be going through today, check out the links in the description and you can download our cheat sheet, if you will, of prompts specifically for estimating. You can plug and play them into ChatGPT for all of the different points I'm going to be going over today. And we've got some great stuff coming up, so you definitely want to stay tuned. So I put in one of the power prompts that you can get here. And it just goes through, take these notes, organize them, create a scope of work. It's got a bunch of stuff. And then I put sort of just a hypothetical conversation between a homeowner and a contractor, or contractor and homeowner here about an estimate. So I'm going to let ChatGPT do its thing and run with this. So you can see in a matter of seconds here that it's going to give you a whole bunch of great information, organize everything. If you have measurements, it'll put measurements in there. We've got things in our prompts that you got to be concerned about with ChatGPT and stuff like that. That's not hallucinating. It's not making stuff up. It's ChatGPT will try to help you and impress you and give you whatever you want, but sometimes that means that it won't actually be necessarily reading documents or going, word for word. So we've accounted for that in our prompts that you get here, to make sure that if there is discrepancies or it's unclear about anything, that it's asking you that and not just creating a bunch of stuff, right? So that's probably one of your concerns with like estimating with an AI is like, what if something's missed? What if it doesn't understand something? What if it just makes up a bunch of stuff, right? These systems are getting better every single day. So from here, you can see, countertops, appliances, plumbing, electrical. It kind of has a good flow of how you complete a project, assumptions, exclusions, what's missing. So it's like, we don't know anything about colors or hardware selection or whatever, any discrepancies. So you can now take this information, put it into like an estimating program or copy and paste or send maybe these additional questions to the client if it's like, oh, I forgot to ask you these things or whatever. So tons of great stuff here that you can create scopes of works and do an analysis in a matter of seconds. All right, so next up of ways you can create faster, more accurate bids with AI is AI is now moving more from like a text-based sort of system, like I mentioned, into it can read documents, it can read drawings, it can get specifications and tons of stuff straight from the plans. Even ChatGPT can do that, and I'm going to be showing you how to use it in that way, in some of the next steps. But for here, you can actually get takeoffs, and estimating software is coming into using this more and more. In this case, I'm using Build Exact. They've got this thing called Takeoff Assistant called Blue. I'm sure other takeoff softwares are, close to this as well, but it's really quite amazing what can happen here. So I've got this sample set of plans. It's got some floor plans here, and I'm just going to click, get some floor areas, and it's just going to run with it, and it's going to get you takeoffs for floor areas. You don't have to, like digital takeoffs were already an amazing thing. When I started using them, I was like, wow, it helps so much. Once you get the hang of it, you just, click and you can do digital takeoffs. And it still won't do everything, not yet anyways, from what I've seen. But you can see here within maybe 30 seconds or whatever that was, we've already got room by room takeoffs. We've got full, square footages. You can now import this into your estimate and it's super fast, super easy. Play around with it a little bit. A lot of the stuff with AI, it's like, can it do this already? Is it good enough? Test it. If it doesn't work, try it in a month or two because it's probably good enough by then. Like I was trying this, I don't know, a couple months back with some other softwares to do AI takeoffs, and it was kind of not all there, but it's really improved a ton just in the last couple months. All right, so now you've seen the actual takeoff software do takeoffs. Now let's see how ChatGPT handles this. And I've been testing this out for a while. It's pretty amazing stuff. So I put in here just a sample house plan that I got, and put in one of our power prompts here. You receive architectural drawings, sketches, specifications, so on and so forth. And we formulated these prompts specifically for ChatGPT and make sure that everything's getting calculated properly, it's flagging missing information, and it's exporting it in the way that we want. So all I've done is upload the PDF, I put in the prompt, and I'll let it do its thing. Considering it is a PDF document, it may take a little longer, but it actually is just cruising through this. So it'll actually give you material takeoffs. Again, when you get started with this, I would test it the first time. So do your own takeoffs, like in the takeoff software, like I just showed you, and then throw it into ChatGPT with the plans and see how close it is. See if it's made its mark. And if there are discrepancies, ask it, hey, I did this takeoff myself. It showed that we had, 1,300 square feet, and you're saying it's 1184. Why is there this discrepancy, right? And see if it makes sense again. And you can kind of figure out what it can do, what it can't do, and why the difference. But what I found in my experience is it's surprisingly accurate and very well done. Another thing is too that when you are doing like something specific to your area, to mention where you're located. It's very important because different people across the country or countries will build differently and have different regulations and all that kind of stuff. So, but anyways, we can see here concrete framing, it's done takeoffs for us, roofing even. I would probably ask it some clarifying questions just to make sure it's actually like, hey, did what slope a roof is on the plans or something like that, just to make sure that it's not doing some stupid mistakes that is kind of like rookie material here. But as you can see, pretty amazing that from a PDF set of plans, it can give you kind of information from it very accurately. So now let's say we don't want to do a full, takeoff. We just wanted to analyze these plans. Maybe it got sent to us an email. Hey, we're looking to build this house. Can you, do this for us or whatever? And you're like, I don't want to go sift through a bunch of plans, throw them in ChatGPT and like summarize the scope of work, tell me any key data, so on and so forth. You can have a prompt like this. And again, in a matter of seconds, it'll do the review and analysis and give you kind of the pertinent data and information so that you can then make a quick decision as far as, what should I be looking at? And is this going to be, a fit for us? So you can see this took a long time for ChatGPT to go through here, a full minute and a half just to analyze this. So it will happen again. They're always getting faster, but depending on the level of analysis and which ChatGPT model it's routing to, it can take a little while, but again, much faster than yourself going through it. So checklist, it'll tell you, key data, different things, project scope. So it's two-story single family home, square footages, different types of assemblies called out, and it'll give you a lot of good information right off the bat without having you to go digging through a bunch of specifications or plans or different things like that. So super quick, very helpful. The more you use this, the easier it'll get and the faster it'll be and the more time it'll save you. So you can see at the end here too, it's got clarifying questions. So jurisdiction code path, where is this? Site setbacks, structural, a bunch of different things it's going to ask you. Of course, you don't need to know all of this probably, especially if you're just like a rough budgeting or trying to give them a ballpark budget. But it's good at finding those things that are missing on plans because, as you know, one of the biggest frustration is you're building something and it's like, why are these plans not lining up? Or why did the architect design it like this? This doesn't make any sense. Now you got a change order or plan revision and all this kind of stuff. Whereas ChatGPT and something like that can do a review of it and sometimes might not identify the specific thing that, it gets wrong, but at least it'll pinpoint, hey, maybe this is something that you should look at, or it'll bring up ideas for you to have a better idea of like what could be missing or it could be a significant issue later on when you go to build the project. So as you can see, we can pretty much do any part of the estimating using ChatGPT. It's just a matter of getting the right information in and using the right prompts to bring it out. The next thing that we're going to be looking at here is pricing. Pricing is probably one of the most time-consuming, tedious parts of estimating, and it actually is getting easier and easier every day. If you're using project management software, you've probably got price lists in there that are live with, like a Home Depot or a Build One or whatever. But ChatGPT can actually do this as well. Now, I'm going to put this in here just to show you, and we'll see how that does. But now with ChatGPT agents, you can actually create a ChatGPT agent that will go to your local Home Depot or Rona and look on their website and find the price for specific material lists. So if you got a material list or certain things that you need priced out, you can actually have an agent go and check websites and look for pricing. So in this case, it didn't give us specific numbers because it's asking for all these clarifying questions, which is actually what you want. You do not want ChatGPT just to make assumptions of like where you are, or especially like this is like numbers for estimating and and it needs to be accurate, right? So this is what a good prompt will do. It'll tell you like, I can't find this information, or here's information that will help you, but these are the limitations, right? So in this case, it's not going to have the specific pricing. But if I were to upload my pricing database or tell it the location I'm in, it will give me a quick and fairly accurate pricing structure as well. Again, you probably want to be a little bit more specific, like use this, like let's say you're estimating the framing, right? So you're going to have like a framing list of materials. You can put that in and give it like some sort of database to bring this all together. I'm doing this like in bulk, so it's going to be more kind of loose pricing, but it does work. And I've used it, like I mentioned before, with ChatGPT agents to find specific pricing from specific suppliers just using websites and things like that. And later on this video, I'm going to be showing you how to get really great ballpark budgets, as well as a number of other things to do with your estimating. Just the every one of these is going to add up to minutes or hours saved on bids and just give you so much more time back, or even better yet, give you a repeatable system and structure that you can provide to one of your project managers or a part-time estimator to be able to do a lot of this kind of background and bulk sort of estimating work where you would just review it afterwards. So I know for me, when I was estimating that often, I mean, there's a number of different things, but one of them being the floor assembly, because you might have, TGI engineered joists, it could be 2x10, 2x12. So the pricing slightly changes, even though the structure is very kind of similar. And I'd always have to go and you got to check these different things. And sometimes different parts of the different floors will have different types of joists or whatever. So again, a simple, pretty straightforward prompt here, and we're going to ask for the floor assembly, and we'll see what happens. All right, so we can see here we've got 2x10, 16 on center, glue and nail, floor sheet installed over 2x10 framing prior to roof framing. So we could, it's got quite the assembly here, and you could put in a prompt like, please condense this into line items that I can throw into an estimate, or even export this as a spreadsheet that I can upload into whichever project management software you have. And it will be able to create a CSV or Excel file to pretty much whatever you want, as far as like a spreadsheet type file that you can then upload as an estimate that you can plug into, your, in this case, the flooring system, but really you could use this for any of them. So if you would like the power prompts that I'm putting in here for all these different parts of an estimate, check out the links in the description below. Like I mentioned, you can get our working document. It's an estimating guide for ChatGPT. It'll have all these prompts in there. So definitely want to pick it up, save you a ton of time and money and headaches. The next one we're talking about, so now we've pretty much used it for everything to get the estimate in place and the numbers and all that kind, takeoffs and different things. Now there's all this other stuff that comes with estimating, which I'm going to get to, and then also like a kind of quick move to be able to estimate a full project in a very short period of time to give a client a quick way to figure out, is this feasible? Do I want to spend an hour or two estimating this project, or do I need to move on to greener pastures? All right, so this one here is this prompt that we're doing in this example is for bid packages. So now you've got to bid the project out, right? So what's electrical, what's plumbing, you're going to send it over to your subtrades. In this case, we're going to do an electrical bid package, and this will clarify you in this situation. I just use the plans, but you would take your actual estimate and download that as a PDF or a spreadsheet. Spreadsheet's probably going to work the best. Load that into ChatGPT and then ask it, can you create a bid package from here? Some project management softwares, are really easy to take line items and move it over. But even with that, moving those line items over, you can still ask it to kind of summarize and do a nice summary here to give it to your subtrades, whoever it may be, just so that everyone's working from the same point and like there's a lot more information and detail that goes into it. So you can see here for electrical, it's clarified scope of work, standards, inclusion, exclusions, all these different things. You may not use all of this. And again, you can kind of formulate these prompts to either like dial down or expand the level of detail. It's just a matter of the prompt and telling ChatGPT specifically how you want the information to look afterwards. And then this is always important stuff. It's asking you for your clarifications. Project I was estimating at the time, and I estimated it. We were working with the client. We're getting to the drywall stage. Not quite, but so I had my drywaller come by and provide me a quote. Typically, I knew his square footage pricing, so I didn't need to get it bid out ahead of time. But I still get him to like let him get a quote from we're doing rough-ins, and his quote was a number of thousands of dollars over what I had budgeted for, and I was like, oh crap, what's going on here? Did you guys raise your pricing? And he's like, no, this is our standard pricing. And then I go back to my takeoffs that I had done, and I realized, I'm like 1,000 square feet short of theirs, something like that. And I realized later that I had missed the ceilings. Now, I'm quite sure that if I was to put the plans and that original estimate, I should actually try this, but into ChatGPT and said, is there any discrepancies here? That it could probably find some discrepancies and risks. So that's another great use of something like ChatGPT is it can take a full set of plans or estimate, give it all the information, the notes that it has, and say, what are the risks? Is there anything I'm missing here? And do you consider this complete? So that's what we're going to do here because risks, even though it may not change your numbers, it's good to identify those things for yourself, but also for the client. So in this case, I don't have like a full estimate to put in here, but it will identify a number of things in the plans. Like this case, I was asking for risks or discrepancies in the estimate. And what you can do as well is you can create like a custom GPT so that you don't have to put the prompt in every time. It'll actually be like a loaded sort of program, if you will, so that you just have to put an estimate in and it'll run a set of instructions on it. So you could like analyze this estimate based off of discrepancies with historicals or other things. So if you've been building homes for 5, 10 years, you can load in a ton of old estimates and different things throughout the years. And then when you put in a new estimate, it'll figure out based off of historical estimates to like, and if you especially you have actual numbers, now I can get a clear picture of like, hey, maybe you want to bump up the pricing on this, or hey, you missed marking up this thing compared to previous years where you've done it differently or what have you. So great use of ChatGPT to figure out risks, save you a ton of money and potentially a lot of headaches down the road. All right, now something really cool. It is how to build a quick kind of budget for a client without having to dive into and do a whole bunch of work for them. So you may have this come up where lead comes in, they sent you a set of plans. Hey, we're thinking about building this new home. How much is it going to cost us, right? So they're just looking to kind of get a quick budget, and you don't want to have to go through a plan and provide a quote and everything if you know it's going to cost 800,000 and they're expecting 600,000 or what have you. So quickly load up the set of plans, put in the power prompt. As I mentioned, check out the description below to get these prompts with all these use cases as well. We've got two separate guides, but one specifically for estimating, which you can get, which has all these prompts in it. So here we have some preliminary pricing that we can offer to the clients. Of course, you will want to load whatever kind of square footage pricing. If you know you're in, a certain square footage pricing for a new home build or what have you, you can apply those metrics here and kind of cross-reference or give it to ChatGPT to figure it out. But it's going to lay out pretty much what's, a low, mid, high range. And this is an easy way to get some fairly accurate numbers over to a client and figure out, is this budget in the right ballpark? Do we need to maybe change the scope or the plans to fit the client's budget? Or just should we ask the client that, this just isn't feasible wherever things are at? And then, of course, it's going to bring down, a bunch of assumptions, exclusions, and risks. So now you can estimate like a pro using ChatGPT. Make sure to check out this next video if you are looking to set up a complete estimating system from top to bottom that you can then delegate to someone else so you don't have to do estimating anymore. You need that high level system to be able to delegate, to do more accurate and more profitable bids. Go check out this next video. I'll see you there.